Hi, this is Mike from All Terrain Family, and today we're exploring the Pine Nut Mountains in Douglas County, Nevada. The Pine Nut Mountain Range runs from the Carson River in the north for 40 miles to Topaz Lake in the south. It's one of the hundreds of mountain ranges that make up the vast geographic province known as the Great Basin. The defining characteristic of this area that encompasses all of northern Nevada and nearly all of the entire state is that there are hundreds of mountain ranges separated by deep, dry valleys, and none of the water that falls on this area ever reaches the ocean. Here in the Pine Nut Mountains above Carson Valley, there are spectacular views of the Sierra Nevada mountain range, verdant farmland along the Carson River, and the vast basin and range extending east across Nevada. Today we're on the Sunrise Pass Road, which connects the Carson Valley with Smith Valley, cresting the Pine Nut Mountains along the way. Right here, we're at Johnson Lane OHV Park at the east end of Johnson Lane. To get here, travel north from Minden, Nevada on US Highway 395 for about 5 miles and turn right on Johnson Lane. Sunrise Pass Road is a graded dirt road and passable by any all-wheel drive car or SUV suitable for dirt road travel. Today the vehicles that we have with us is a 3rd gen Tacoma, Toyota Tacoma, and we have a Polaris RZR. When traveling fairly remote roads like this, there are a few things that you should take into consideration. First, do you have a spare tire? Getting a flat tire on a road like this is a real possibility. Be prepared. Second, do you have water and snacks? Back road travel is a lot nicer if you have snacks and drinks and are prepared to have a picnic. Third, you will not have cell phone signal when you get close to the pass. Know where you're going and tell somewhere where you went. It's also good to have two-way radios to communicate between vehicles if you're traveling in a group. Fourth, these roads are used on a daily basis by ranchers, landowners, other explorers, and ATV, UTV riders. Expect to see other traffic on this road and drive accordingly. If you're traveling in an off-highway vehicle like this side-by-side, which is a Polaris RZR, there's a couple things you might consider as well. First, I recommend wearing helmets and goggles. The helmets protect you if you crash, which might not be all that likely, but also protect you from hitting your head on the roll bars and structure of the vehicle, which is more likely. And the goggles are pretty necessary with all the dust and sand that gets flung up in your face. Second, fill your gas tank before you go, and don't bring extra fuel. These side-by-side vehicles run hot, and there's no good way to carry extra fuel safely without modification. Third, keep your speed under control. This whole area is open to vehicles, bikes, hikers, equestrians, and other OHVs, and you should expect two-way traffic at all times. Once you start up Sunrise Pass Road, follow the most well-traveled path. It's not marked except for right there at the beginning, but it's pretty easy to follow. If you have digital maps like Gaia GPS or even Apple Maps or Google Maps or Onyx Off-Road, it is marked on all of those maps. Just be sure that you cache those maps before you come out here because you might not have a cell phone connection in order to download them from the trail. For really good mile-by-mile directions, I recommend this book, Nevada Trails, Western Region. You can order this book through your local bookstore or get it from Amazon. This book has a really good mile-by-mile directions, both from this side and from the other side. So wherever you're coming from, you can use this book to find your way. From the start of the trail, the road comes quickly to 2 spots you might want to check out. First is Painted Rock Mine. This is so named for the large painted rock and the gravel mine behind it. This is located on Native American land, and as of the day we shot this video, there are not signs or gates limiting access. We were able to drive through the mine site and check it out. It looks like other activities are common there, but we made a quick pass and moved on. The next spot you come to that you'll want to check out is this hill climb. In general, stay on designated routes or existing roads when exploring areas like this. Roads like this are okay if they're not specifically signed as closed or restricted. If you have an appropriate vehicle, you can give this hill climb a try. Any side-by-side vehicle should be able to get up this hill, and we could probably do it in the Tacoma, but we didn't give it a try today. It's not necessarily an entry-level 4x4 obstacle. The Pine Nut Mountains are named for the single-leaf pinyon pine, which is the dominant species in the upper elevations. Down here, it's dominated mostly by sage and rabbit brush, wildflowers, and also pinyon pines here and there. The broad lower flanks of the mountain range here is really pretty. You can see the mountains all the way from Mount Rose in the north, way to Mount Job in the south, and even farther south down to the mountains around Monitor Pass. Here there's this big, broad, open plain here that gently slopes down to the Carson Valley, which you can see out in the left there with the beautiful green farmland. And the road just sort of climbs gently up the hill slope here until it reaches the mountain and goes in through the pass. The pinyon is unique among pine trees for having a single needle rather than pairs or more. The pinyon pine produces a small nut which this mountain range is named for. The pine nut is small and has a thin, hard shell. It is a traditional food for Native Americans and has long been a staple in their diet and culture. Lower on the mountain flank, the ecosystem is dominated by sagebrush and juniper, and upper areas are dominated by the pinyon juniper woodland plant community, which is a hallmark of Great Basin ecology. There are many species of wildflowers that are present throughout the year, although there will be more in the spring. We saw a few on our trip in late August. As you climb higher on the mountain towards Sunrise Pass, the road gets steeper and enters several canyons. Much of this mountain range is public land managed by the Bureau of Land Management, but much is also private land. Mapping apps like Gaia GPS and OnX Off-Road have map layers that let you know the ownership of the land around you. But heed no trespassing signs and closed gates, as they have the last word. As you get farther into Sunrise Pass Road, the condition of the road deteriorates. The heavy winter of 2023 left this muddy section that's impassable by all but the most capable of off-road vehicles. There was a bypass when we went through, but it was also difficult enough to deter lower clearance SUVs and cars. So proceed with caution when the going gets rough. The road is also fairly rocky as you near the pass and steep and rutted as you head down the other side. This is either a welcome uptick in adventure or a sign that it's time to turn back. Sunrise Pass Road continues down the gentle east flank of the Pine Nut Range and connects with the paved Lower Colony Road in Smith Valley. From there, you can head towards Wellington, Nevada and complete the loop back to Carson Valley via Route 208 and Highway 395, passing scenic Topaz Lake along the way. So Sunrise Pass Road obviously goes all the way to Smith Valley if you keep going. Once you crest the pass back there, the road does get a little bit bumpier. There's some ruts and it's a little steeper on this side. There was also that one mud section before we got to the pass, and then it was a little rocky also before we got to the pass. You could also just turn around and head back and avoid all this stuff, but if you want to go a little deeper, there is a power line right behind me, and the power line road that follows it turns and heads back. So we're going to make a loop out of this, and we're going to head back over the pass a little bit above Sunrise Pass and cut back in just past Sunrise Pass. This power line road goes all the way back, pretty much all the way back to Johnson Lane. So if you really want to keep things rough and make things fun for a little while, keep going, take it all the way back. It's particularly fun in a RZR. One thing I also recommend out here on the trail, we don't have cell signal here, is these little radios. This is a Midland GXT. It is a FRS GMRS radio. They're very handy. Batteries last for a while. I charge them in the car. Very handy. Definitely get some of these. They come in great in 2-packs. I've got two 2-packs, so I have one for me and there's one in each car because I end up directing a lot. But this is fun. We're going to head back over this hill here. We scattered it out. I'm pretty sure the Tacoma is going to make it. I know there were some trees that had fallen down, but we didn't have any trouble getting through in the RZR. So hopefully we won't have trouble in the Tacoma. Here we go.
This road is pretty rough right from the start, so if you don't feel like you can do that, then definitely don't come up this. It's got big ruts, it's loose, rocky, with tight switchbacks, and there's brush on all sides. But it's fun! So there are a number of places you can get off of this power line road. We're actually going to take this one. This is the first one. We've been on that road for a half hour, 45 minutes, but the day's getting on and we're ready to get home. So if you want to keep going, definitely keep going. The road goes this way for quite a while and it gets even rougher and steeper and gnarlier with some great views.
One uniquely Nevada experience is seeing Mustangs roaming the range, and the Pine Nut Mountains are home to a number of bands of these wild horses. Wild horses living in the Pine Nut Mountains can usually be seen grazing or looking for water. These Mustangs are a favorite attraction to the area and are great to see and make for stunning photographs and memorable experiences. If you do see Mustangs on your visit to the Pine Nut Mountains, please keep your distance and avoid interacting with them in any way. It is illegal to feed, water, or harass wild horses on the range.
Well, if you find yourself at the end of the trail and the sun's going down, the day's gotten away from you, this spot here near Painted Rock and the Johnson Valley staging area is a great place to stop and watch the sun go down. Hope you enjoyed your day in the Pine Nut Mountains on the Sunrise Pass Road. Thank you for watching and happy trails.